good. This week we'll be talking about Nintendo showing a new Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom trailer in its latest Nintendo Direct. Nintendo, again, investing in their employees despite falling sales numbers. The Negro Leagues coming to MLB The Show 2023. Apex Legends Season 16 is bringing a whole lot of changes. All this and more on Season 7, Episode 6 of Press X starts Gamers Digest. What's up, everyone? I am your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices. I am joined by,
Oh, oh yeah, just me today. Hey everyone, it's me, Avery.
and you have the pleasure of sitting down for a rare but fun fireside chat. For those who know. For those who don't, you're young. Enjoy your life. Almost forgot. Okay. Press X to Start Gamers Digest is a video game podcast that condenses the most important gaming news from the past week into an hour-long meal just for you. We are live on YouTube every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello, YouTube. Don't forget, you can support us by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell. If you are listening, we would greatly appreciate you leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or the podcast services you are tuned in on. If you want to join in our conversations, you can by joining our Discord at pressxnumber2start.com/discord. So do it. All right. Now you know who we are. Now you know what this is. Now you know where you can contribute to our greatest endeavors. I think it is time that we jump into the gaming news. Ari, what's happening?
Yeah, a lot happened this week. Well, nothing big bombs. I've once again forgotten how conversations work. Let me just start with our first story. This is a roundup from IGN.com of the Nintendo Direct that we had this week, or at least the week prior that you're listening to this. This is written by Adam Bankhurst. They didn't do this list in the chronological roundup in the chronological order in which the actual games were shown. So what I'm gonna do is do a rundown from because they went from the most popular, the most biggest games at the top, small games at the bottom. So I'm flipping this and starting from the bottom, going from the top. Yada yada. So
That
we're
works.
just gonna discuss some of the things that we saw here. One of the things they showed off is Master Detective Archive Rain Code, which is a game they've already shown off. It's from the Danganronpa team, so that's cool if you like those type of things. Uh, they also showed off a game called Deca Police, which it's a level 5 game. I believe it's made for the I think it's the same level 5 team that makes the Professor Layton games. Cool anime art style. It is what it is. Calling it Deca Police. Whatever. I was a big fan
Yeah,
of
like
that.
what is that? Is that supposed to mean anything?
No, you're a police detective. You're solving mysteries, and Deca Police is just like it's saying the police in the name. We're in 2023.
Oh, okay. Gotcha,
I'm just
gotcha.
saying. I love Astral Chain. I was a psychic
Mhm.
cop in that game. I got no problem with this. Then we got one of the weirder games on Switch that sort of reminds me of how not barren, but how weird the Switch ecosystem is for like big games. We got Fashion Dreamers, which seems to be they took the fashion part of most games that they put in as the side part and just made it the entire game. So we'll see what the depth of this game is.
Yeah. So this was interesting because I jumped onto the Nintendo Direct kind of late. So I jumped in like midway through this and I'm like, what is happening? And then they flashed the actual black character and I was like, oh, that skin tone is not okay. But I was
It's
just so
it's
lost in the sauce.
it's
Go
not the
ahead. What you?
skin tone as the problem. It's the fact that they have one facial archetype, which is
Oh, I
which is the standard which is the standard anime thing where it's like, oh, this is a dark skinned anime character. So they
yeah,
put
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I definitely had that same feeling, but it was
okay.
just it was so off-putting because one, I didn't know what I was looking at, and then it just flashed the character. And I was like, "Whoa, what's happening here? What is this game? Is this a game?" So I was
I,
just so lost.
yeah, I don't know if it's really a game. Omega Strikers is coming to Switch, which is it's a game that was made by ex Apex team. Well, I only know it because this game one of the former Apex devs is on the team, so I get a lot of notifications from this game. It's made by
Mm,
ex I want to say MOBA creators from I want to say League and Dota and stuff, things like that. It's relatively popular on PC. Not like super popular, but it's earned its niche, and it seems like an interesting game. It has a very anime aesthetic into it. Like
it reminds me of the Super Giant game.
Hades or Transistor.
No, no, there was
Oh,
one
the
between
Pyre.
them.
Pyre.
The Pyre, that's what it is. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The-
Yeah.
Uh, they also showed off Ghost Trick, which is I guess Phantom Detective, which is I believe a return to the Ghost Trick franchise since it was like a DS game. So that's cool. Uh, we also got We Love Katamari Reroll, which I believe is a bundle of the remasters of the Katamari games. Yeah, yeah. So that like those are classic, really great games. So it's cool they're on Switch.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's cool to see.
a game that sort of surprised me: Fantasy Life. I, the Girl Who Steals Time. Like, okay, oh, it's Fantasy Life 1, but no, I think it is I. This is so dumb.
Yeah, I think it is I, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we had gotten away from the farming sim games in this direct, but like,
Mm,
can't escape it. You can't
mm-mm.
escape it.
Can't escape it. Nope.
In a not confusing, but I was surprised by the game that stood out the most to me in this is uh Harmony: The Fall of Reverie, which is from the Life is Strange team. Don't Nod. They're
Mhm.
also making that Irish Ghost Hunter game. So it looks like they're making two games. This one seems to be geared for the Switch, It's probably a Life is Strange-esque visual novel, walk around an environment kind of thing. It has a really cool animated art style that I think it
Yeah.
looks really cool. This is one of those games that I'm putting on the Avery Williams. I'm gonna sit here and cry about this woman's trials and tribulations kind of a thing. But I'm just
I
no,
oh, go
you
ahead.
go.
I was gonna say, yeah, this definitely stood out to me as well. I think the animation is like superb. It looks really interesting, and like I'm not really one for these kind of games, but this one was really just intriguing to me. I was actually waiting to see if anyone was gonna put this on their fantasy critic league. No one did, and I was like, huh, okay, because I was definitely gonna
It
counterpick that, or not counterpick. I was definitely gonna try to bid over to get this,
yeah.
but no one did. So like, okay, I'll wait. I'll wait on it. But yeah,
it,
like.
it it's a weird game because like Dalton is making a AAA game on one side, and as someone who likes their last AA game, Vampire, I'm like, I don't know if you guys have the resources to make this game
Mm,
sing. And then they're doing this as well, so I don't really know what they're doing. But we now live in an era where like studios have to sort of be masters of none, especially when they're not owned by a big group. So like I'm
that is
hoping this
true.
all pans out for them. They also
Yeah.
showed off Samba de Amigo Party Central, which is a brand new Samba de Amigo game. This is from Sega. Uh, yeah, I'm not a
Yeah.
Samba fan, so it's
Yeah.
like it's cool. It'll probably go hard with the HD Rumble. They also showed off
Mm,
a new Professor Layton game. I've never been a Layton head, so this is the big thing about this direct is that like it's very clear how far I have fallen out of my Nintendo fandom with
mhm.
every increasing director they go on. Where it used to be like, oh man, here's a list of games I'm super interested in. I want to play on my Nintendo Switch. Now it's like, oh man, here's a list of games. I'm like, cool, Switch has games. I'm not really into this.
Yeah. Nah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I think this was a direct for, like, I would probably say a lot of filler to get to their, like, big headline.
I did not like the direct. I will say this: like watching
Okay.
it, I
Yeah.
was incredibly bored by it. I think
Yeah.
the first, I not judging the quality of the game, but the way they paced the games. It wasn't until the very, I want to say the last 10 to 15 minutes of this 40-minute direct where I was like, okay, I'm actually interested and perked up by some of the things they're announcing here.
Yeah.
Tron Identity is the Mike Bithell Games junk. I'm a big Tron fan. I'm interested in this. If it's only on Switch, I'll play it on Switch. If not, I'll probably end up playing on a PC or on console.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this was also another, standout for me as well. I like the look of it,
Heads up,
and
it is a visual novel. This isn't
yep.
a Tron like light cycle arcade kind of a thing. It's like no, this is a visual novel mystery.
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remastered. Now, if I ignore everything I said about me not giving a shit about this direct, and everything I said about the Don't Know game as being my most standout thing, this was the A.V. Williams Nintendo nostalgia of the GameCube era, being like, oh, they're remaking
Mm.
Baten Kaitos HD remasters. Do I want to lose another 100 hours of my life playing this game on a console that I don't normally play video games on? We'll
Oy.
see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, this was one of those games I was like, "Oh, that's a weird title." I think this had the, title key art that was the most confusing because it was, like, all green and kinda viney where I couldn't even really tell what the actual title was. It was just a little design thing, and
Big Boston Capitals fan. In another
yeah.
podcast, I give you 20 minutes on why this game rocks. Anyway, Etron, there's an Etron Odyssey Origins collection that they're putting on Switch. Etron Odyssey are really old style RPG dungeon crawler games that never really interested me because I really don't like that. You don't see your character, you just see the enemy on the screen and
Yeah.
situation. That being said, they pretty much all but confirmed that hey, we're putting this game out to see if we can get more Etrian Odyssey games out there. So if you're a fan of that franchise, that's cool. More Dead Cells. Castlevania got shown off again. So you're a Dead Cells fan. That's sweet. Bayonetta Origins: The Race on the Lost Demon also got another gameplay trailer. I think they got a release date as well. So it's like March 17, 2023. I unfortunately didn't play Bayonetta 3, so like I think I'm out
Yeah.
on Bayonetta for the time being, as long as it's a Switch game and Devil May Cry 5 exists. I'm like, I'm fine. Uh,
Yeah.
Octopath 2 got a demo. So that game is also out. It's also coming to all platforms now, so it's not just a Switch game, which is in my ongoing what's going to happen with Square Enix situation, tells me a little bit of how I feel about what that organization's relationship is going to be with other studios. Sea of Stars got a release date in the demo. It's coming out in August. You briefly
I
played the demo.
yeah, so I played this. I'm I'm a lapsed I don't even I can't even say JRPG fan, but like I've when I look at this game, I think my time I spent in like what is Secret of Mana, those kind of like top down world traversing kind of RPG kind of things. And I was like, "Oh, this looks cool." I played it. It's cool. It's just I think I've moved past like these genre of games where it just doesn't I don't see myself actually buying this and sitting down and playing it when I can be playing other games that are more visually appealing for me. So
Fair. Okay. I lost my track. Oh yeah. They got Disney Illusion Island got shown off again. We last saw that at the D23 Disney Showcase.
hmm
This game looks cool. It still
it
very
does.
much looks like a Flash game to me, like a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Uh, but it looks really good in terms of like cool aesthetic, art style, and things like that. It just very much, and not in the cool Rayman type of Flash game, but in the very much like I played this on Newgrounds
Yes.
in
Yes.
circa
Yeah.
2010 situation. Uh,
I totally feel that.
Fire Emblem got more DLC for Fire Emblem Engage, a game that kind of came and went. As someone who's a Fire Emblem fan, it's just like it was such a weird thing to see that game just come out and just like be instantly forgotten in the grand scheme. But they seems to be my fucking my read is that Fire Emblem Engage was built off the back of the Fire Emblem Gacha game, and they're trying to figure out a way to
Mm,
put Gacha into Fire Emblem. And the way they seem to be extolling this DLC stuff with it seems to lean credence to they're trying to deal with that, which is fine. Uh, more
as long
Xenoblade.
as it as long as it doesn't and I'm purely speaking as a person on the outside of the Fire Emblem like oeuvre. I as long as it doesn't affect their mainline games, that's fine. But like if the next Fire Emblem game is like giant story, whatever, and it also has a gotcha system, I think that would start to alienate their fan base.
We'll see. I agree with you, but like if they're getting data that Fire Emblem Heroes is like a popular game that like they can just port that and just make money and just not be like we'll see. Everyone's trying to be on that live service train, and Gacha is one of the easiest live service things to deal with. Uh,
You're not
Xeno-
wrong.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 got an expansion pass, so that's cool for the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 people. It's pretty much I have no yeah. So moving on, more Kirby stuff. We got a Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. And it also got a demo. It's being released this month. So if you're big into Kirby games and you were excited for the last one that came out, this is probably not the game to play. But if you're excited for Kirby as a character, you should play this game. Splatoon 3 got its expansion pass, which seems to bring back the setting from Splatoon 1. And it also showed off a future one that's dealing with, I want to say, Agent 8 from the Splatoon 2 single player mode. It
Mm.
very much looks like a Nier game.
Yeah, that the end part, I was very much like, oh, this is interesting, kind of different. I guess you're underwater. There's a part where it looks like fish or something like swim by or like
I don't
float
think you're
by.
underwater. I think they're just, it's like ethereal land and fish are just swimming because nothing makes sense here.
True,
Yeah.
true.
Next, they showed off more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and more of its new tracks. Also revealing that Birdo is going to be a playable character and one of the new tracks is pretty much based off Yoshi's Island, so that's cool.
Mm.
Once again, we're never getting a Mario Kart 9 or a Mario Kart 10.
Not at all.
Actually,
Not
if
at
I'm
all.
Nintendo, I count all the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe content as Mario Kart 9, and I just go to Mario Kart X.
That's actually not a bad idea. And
Yeah,
I doubt the fan base would be like, "Well, where's my 9?"
yeah.
Like
No,
out
one-
there.
no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit.
Yeah,
One of the
yeah.
DS games is counted as like 6, so like no one gives a shit. Uh,
Jeez.
Advance Wars finally got a release date. 1+2. It's coming out on April 21st, 2023. I swear to God, Russia, if you fuck this up for the fan base, I will personally join the military and fucking and 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 do a little war crimes. Nothing major,
Right?
nothing major. Just a little war crimes.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. Uh, Now we're getting to the meat of the big content that they talked about that was scattered in between this. Number one is that the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance are being added to Nintendo Expanse, the Nintendo Online service. Game Boy for based on Nintendo, and Game Boy Advance for Nintendo Online expansion pass. So shout out to Sean for paying for that for some reason. But this was completely uninteresting to me.
Yeah.
Up until I saw what they were coming up later, which was the Oracle Season and Oracle of Ages of Legend of Zelda games, which are fucking fantastic, and then Golden Sun there. And anyone knows about my creative endeavors know how much Golden Sun is in the DNA of everything I've ever done in my entire life.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to maybe play that game again. Wish I could play that game again with trophies, but that's neither here or there. I'm excited for that. The only thing that will get me more excited is if when they finally put the Pokemon games on these services, they're all connected to the same goddamn Nintendo home service, Pokemon home service, so that I could play this game. I could take Pokemon from that game and put it into the more modern games instead of just being like.
Sorry to interrupt, but Pokemon being on this service, that is what I am curious about, because I had a Game Boy, I had a Game Boy Advance, I had a Game Boy Color and all that stuff, but like really and truly, I was just playing Pokemon games. And part of me wants to believe that Nintendo would put this on this service and like, hey, just download it. But the other part of me, the capitalistic side of me, thinks Nintendo would be leaving money on the ground if they put this on the service without somehow figuring out how to charge extra money for it.
They already charged extra for it. They made remakes of these games.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. But the originals, though,
No,
that's
here's the
where you
thing.
charge $70. That's where you charge $70.
Well, on this logic, because I know you're trolling me right now, but on this logic is that you have a $60-$70 version, $60 version of Pokemon Red Blue versus Pokemon Let's Go.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
one that works with every other version of Pokemon going forward. I don't see. There's no real reason to say let's not put the original Red, Blue, and hey, let's fuck around and put Green on there, on the Pokemon Advance Game Boy service. I don't think there's any losing any money because like you already have a version of that like one that like you get people are only going to play for nostalgic reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one's going to get the service for it because the people who want to play those games have already hacked and cheated or playing those games online. And there's another version of them that exists already. It's like Last of Us. To give an example, it's like Last of Us Part 1 and Last of Us Remastered being on the PlayStation, being on various PlayStation platforms.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They also showed up Pikmin 4, which finally that game exists and we've seen it. They gave it a July 21st release date. Game looks cool. There's another weird looking dog in the game. Don't know yeah. And they also seem to be hinting at a like, I want to say, Dying Light 2 nighttime aggressive enemy mode.
So why did that just that whole scene just screamed Bugsnax to me?
Yes, it reminds me so much of the ending of Bugsnax.
Really? Like almost shot for shot. Oh man.
Then we got Metroid Prime Remastered, which is finally shown off. It's not the Metroid Prime Trilogy Remastered. It's simply Metroid Prime Remastered. It is the remastered version of the GameCube version. Physical copies are going out. Will be available February 22nd, but they released it on digitally day and date. So, which I think is pretty cool. I love Metroid Prime, and if I was more active in the Switch ecosystem, I would have 100% bought this game just to see how they handle dual analog aiming. Because the original Metroid Prime, you had to aim and then lock on, and then you sort of locked. Once you've locked on, you were like sort of locked in an animation. It's interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing.
I was gonna say this trailer looked really, really good. Like, I was very impressed with how graphically uh, nice it looks compared to the grand scheme of where we are in our console generations and so on and so forth. I think I never played Metroid Prime, and it was a thing of, oh, this looks interesting. At the time, I heard about, what you're saying with the controls and how it plays. I was like, I don't, that doesn't even really appeal to me. And then also the whole like you are in this base and you're trying to figure out like what's happening in terms of the bugs and stuff. I was like, I really want any part of it. But like now, it's very interesting. Like I may or may not try this out.
Yeah. And then the big game that they showed off, I guess what my guess is the entire reason Nintendo Direct exists, is they showed off more Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Uh, the game, they showed off a new sort of how would I say this way to interact with the world. So it seems to be like you're going to have your base secret slate and all that abilities. You're also going to get a magic arm situation that will allow you more ways of articulate, manipulate that world. There seems to be some implications that like you can there are other modes of travel about this world. Like they show like you in a car at a certain point, and there is
Yeah.
speculation that they're playing with this game. They're taking the success of the first game with insane physics and building that into the world in which okay, instead of you making a car of all this random shit, here are all these car parts that you can put together and will function in the car, and you can manipulate and shape it in any way, shape, or form that you want. They show flying vehicles as well.
Yeah.
They've said it's
Yeah.
going to be their biggest game in terms of like the size of the game. Looks like their biggest game ever. I've still yet to actually finish the original Breath of the Wild. This
Me
may
too.
once again, this might be the game that brings me back to playing a game on my Switch. It might be. My only concern is that do I like? We'll get to it. Well, we'll get. I'll bring it up to our next two stories. Uh, in reference to the Nintendo Direct, we got two stories. One is from Ethan Gotch from Kotaku.com. Only some Switch games will be $70. Nintendo says. This game is a $70 game,
Yeah. Yeah.
and in a world where people got up in arms about the increase during this console generation, I think this is the most flagrant price increase I've seen all generation. Like,
For the yeah. I, yeah, so I mean just to roll back to the trailer. I'm showing the trailer right now. It looks really, really cool. It looks really expansive in terms of the things that it's showing that you can do. And like you are up in the sky. There is speculation that you will be going underground in the tunnels and so on and so forth. I one wonder what the performance is going to be like for this. Yeah, like I, I truly, truly believe that Nintendo will not commit the cardinal sin that Pokemon did. Like I believe that they'll make sure this game runs nicely. To see that this is $70, to see that you can take that same $70 and buy Horizon, like it
God of
it
War or Elden Ring.
yeah, it feels so weird. It's
My thing with this and why it feels weird to me, I have been someone who's very vocal. I don't give a shit about the price of a game. If it's a game I
Mhm.
want to play, I'll buy it whatever, as long as I think it's
Yeah,
fair for everything around it. So like, I'm not going to spend $100 on a game when every other game is $70, unless you can look at me in the face and justify why that game is $100.
right.
But if video game prices all went to $100, and like I personally, I know we had this argument in the back, and then I would personally be okay with doing that based on my consumption product. I understand
Right.
prices and everything like that, but I that's just me personally. PlayStation raised their prices at the beginning of the generation. People gave them shit for it, but for me, that made sense. We've been sitting at
Yeah.
60 for a long time. Games are getting more expensive, things like that. There is an argument about profits and things like that. You're making X amount of money on this, you can lose money on that. But like, I get that from a business standpoint why you would raise the price. Xbox stood the same, then went in 2 years later and said, okay, now we're going to raise the price. Okay, fine, this is a brand new generation. We haven't even really gotten real Xbox Series X games.
Right.
I can understand that. Nintendo, we are 6 years into your Switch. You're raising the price of this game? And you're telling me
And
it's not going to run better than any other game that's on an actual good console? No, okay, on a modern console.
like, man, I I think for me the issue that I have with this being $70, again, if this was going to be something that I'm going to invest hundreds of hours, like 50s of hours into. All right, I'm paying the $10 because I know like I'm gonna be in this game for a long time. But I think when it comes to the trailer, well, what they showed, it looks great for the next Zelda sequel game. It doesn't look great next to any other $70 game that's like the same AAA level like
At least in
IP. And
this
I
genre.
think
In this genre.
yeah. Yeah, in this genre, yeah. And I think that is such a simplified way of describing it, but at the same time, that is how a lot of gamers look at trailers like this. It's like, "Oh, that looks really cool." The character model doesn't look as good
We
as
remember we remember Puddlegate and all that bullshit.
yeah. So it's just like it's so I guess this is the biggest gun they have to introduce a price increase. So I understand why they did it paired with Legend of Zelda because anyone who played the first one that had the attach rate of what 4 to 1, like four games to like one Switch
To be
console is so
clear, it was
crazy.
also on Wii U. That's why
Oh,
its attach rate was so
true,
insane.
true. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, it just I don't know, man. Like
It's for me. It's weird champ. It's a weird champ decision. I'm okay spending it at $70, but I don't buy their justification for this. Like, hey,
yeah,
we're talking about how big and expensive this world is. You'll be able to go on maybe on the ground. We know you'll be able to go into the air. How's fast travel going to work as it's loading parts of this world? I'm literally playing for Spoken, and for all that game sins, the minute you hit OK on the fast travel, you're there.
yeah,
It is
yeah,
instantaneous.
yeah.
And that brings me to my second part of this is that this is from Ethan Goss, also from Kotaku. Nintendo says new games are still under development for the 6-year-old Switch. So this isn't like them preparing for a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro. They're saying that, oh, we're still going to be making Switch games in 2024 and possibly 2025.
I want to say stop, but like Nintendo does Nintendo things, and I'm just like, all right, Nintendo. Like, if that's what you say you're gonna do now, all right, cool. I I really want a Switch too. Like,
I don't even want a Switch 2. I just want a dedicated console Switch. Like if there's a Switch Pro that had unlocks, like I don't even want better graphics. I just want like frame rate unlock, maybe
oh
1080p
yeah,
resolution, all that. I'll be happy. I don't need
true.
I don't need a Switch that can play fucking Call of Duty. I because
No, yeah,
that's an Activision problem they have to figure out now because Microsoft made them make that promise. I need a Switch that can play Mario Odyssey and have it run as well as Horizon Forbidden West. That's all I need.
yeah. I want a Switch that could play Pokemon like that. The footage of the person running Pokemon at 60 frames per second. I just come on.
Yeah. These are all
Uh,
asks that we want. We
I
want,
know.
yeah. Uh in a more positive spin on last $70 conversation. And this is where your money is going, people. This is from Polygon. This is from Ollie Welsh. Nintendo responds to falling profits with 10% raise for Japanese staff. So in all of this, it's been clear that while the Switch is still selling like hotcakes, the Nintendo sort of financials haven't been that great this quarter. They had like a 7.5% fall in their stock, at least on the Tokyo Stock Exchange. And a couple weeks ago, I was trying to find a quote by Nintendo of how they deal with retention in all this. Why they were maintaining uh, employees during this period of layoffs and financial downturn because of incoming recession. And I couldn't find the quote, but this pretty much exemplifies their quote in that your staff is getting a 10% raise, or at least their Japanese staff, because in their minds, it's important for long-term growth to secure our workforce. So they want the people currently working for them in Japan to feel content in their jobs and not leave for other job sectors.
Yep. If you don't feel secure in your job, you're not going to want to work. I again, this goes back to, like, even at this point, there has been no news about PlayStation doing any kind of layoffs whatsoever for any of their studios. Um, and I think of Microsoft laying off people from 343 Studios and Coalition, and it's just like,
And Bethesda.
and Bethesda, yeah, and it's like that's your three biggest, like, companies. Like, that's crazy. It's crazy pants.
Yeah.
And again, it's where you want to put that money and where you want to invest it. And it's I am happy to see Nintendo understand, like, oh yeah, we'll take the hit. We need to invest the money into the employees to make the games to make us more money. Makes sense.
Yeah, and this goes in concert with our next story, which is from Tom Phillips. It's from Eurogamer. Take Two expects cost reduction program as a string of games flop. So this is a response to the new Tales from the Borderlands, Marvel's Midnight Suns, and the PGA Tour just not having great sales. They've come out and said that they're actually really proud of Marvel's Midnight Suns despite its poor performance, and pretty much hoping that the Firaxis XCOM, pipeline of games where like they have a long tail of sales will make up for its poor early performance. But they've pretty much said that we're going to our restructure all of our portfolios in response to make up for these poor sales, and that is coming. They've also pretty much said layoffs are coming for Take Two Studios.
So they did say layoffs are coming.
Yeah,
Yikes. Well, I guess they're not trying to avoid layoffs, like I said earlier. I guess I misread that. That sucks though.
yeah,
Like, you know, it's the reverse where, again, Microsoft being an American studio or a US based studio, Take Two, I believe, is also a US based studio, right?
yeah.
So this is how they reduce costs, by letting go people, and it sucks. All it does is just hurts the quality of the game that they release. It's kind of weird to see, like, well, I guess it's not weird. I was gonna say it's weird to see Take Two um doing this whole cost reduction thing, because GTA 5 online is still selling like hotcakes. But that is one game making a lot of money,
Yeah,
having to cover
as we
the
talked about
entire
the last time,
studio.
we talked about
Yeah,
the last time. These cost reductions, they're still making profit. These cost
yeah,
reductions are based entirely on the fact that their shareholders want to see growth. And if you're not, even if you're making less profit than you made last time, you're not showing growth. So the easiest way to handicap is, oh, let's just cut out. I think they're targeting like $100 million or some bullshit. And like,
okay,
and suddenly, and then we will have fake growth, if that makes sense, because we're
right,
spending less on other things.
yeah.
But yeah,
It is a shame. But what's not a shame is you, listener and viewer, for watching and listening to our content. We greatly appreciate you and whatever you're doing right now. Yeah, there should be caveats to that, but I don't have any right now. Anyways, please do us a solid and like this video if you are watching. Subscribe to the channel if you are watching, and hit the notification bell since you're watching. If you are listening, please do us a solid and leave a review on your favorite podcasting, you know, app that you're using, whatever, even if you're like listening to us through smoke signals. That's pretty cool. I didn't know we signed up for that, but hey, if you're getting it through there, more power to you. Leave us a review. Do it through smoke signals. We take smoke signals. Anything you got. Greatly appreciate it. All right, with that being said, let us jump back into the show.
okay. Our next story is from IGN. This is from Logan Plant. MLB The Show 2023 will feature legends from the Negro Leagues. So this is something that popped up on PlayStation. In this is their essentially their Black History Month activation. Is that they're using MLB The Show to show off the Negro Leagues, which was an important part of the foundational history of American Major League Baseball. I'm not an MLB The Show guy, so like I can't tell you like the finer details of what this mode means and all the things that's coming to that. But from what I can tell, it's going to be a sort of like living gamified museum of games featuring these players that you will be able to experience and learn from, which is really cool.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. I think this is a great idea. This is a great synergy between Black History Month and video games. I think more games should do this where they can. I also I don't really follow baseball too much, so this kind of falls on deaf ears for me. Like I'm not going to get this because I wouldn't play it.
Yeah.
But again, I think this is really great. I think this is great for all those MLB people who are playing the game now and see something like this. Even for those who aren't aware of who these people are, aren't aware of the Negro Leagues, and think, why is it called the Negro Leagues? That seems very antiquated. It makes sense for the time. Like, it is what it is. But overall, I think this is cool.
Yes, I also think it's cool. This game, I believe, Xbox still has their deal with PlayStation in regards to this. Well, their deal with Major League Baseball in
Oh,
regards
yeah.
to the game going to be on Game Pass, Game Digital, when it comes out March 28, 2023.
I
The
totally forgot about that.
Yeah, well, yeah. The scuttlebutt that I've heard off the grapevine through various streets is that one of the core reasons this game isn't showing up on any PlayStation uh why PlayStation isn't doing the same thing with PS Plus is that the way I'm pretty sure the Xbox Game Pass deals also have the exclusion clause in them
Mm,
that
yep.
PlayStation deals have. So why these games wouldn't show up on a Game Pass. So I believe but I also believe even if PlayStation didn't have that deal, they wouldn't put this game on PS Plus based on the way they treat PlayStation Plus as a additive part of their an additive part of their portfolio, and rather than the full front of their portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Xbox players who care, check this out. Well,
Definitely.
Xbox players who have Game Pass, check it out.
Right? You mean that's all Xbox players, right? Right?
No, unfortunately, you would think the way certain people talk about it, you would think so.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So our next story was a story that I kind of want to do with Sean, but he's not here, so I have to run it solo. You're gonna have more hands-on like information about this next podcast when we've actually sat down and played it.
Yeah.
But this is a story from Stella Chung. This is from Apex Legends Season 16 Revelry. It's team deathmatch, reworked class system, and more. So I am an Apex believer. In the various conversations we have about battle royales, I've been very adamant that the best battle royale on the market as a pure BR experience is Apex Legends. We are 16 seasons into this game. It's been out for about, I think we're on year 4, which is like huge. I like
16
it's
season is insane.
Yeah, it's a huge
That-
milestone. So they're celebrating this with new season with what the Revelry season. We're not getting a brand new legend. There was scuttlebutt that we would get the Apex Legends mobile characters on PC, but everything I've seen about the mobile characters seems to be they were built for mobile and to take advantage
oh,
of
okay.
that platform, so they have to get
Okay.
major reworks to show up on console. However, we are getting a new gun for like the first time in a year and a half since we got the car, the Nemesis rifle, which is a burst energy AR that speeds up the more you shoot it. So if you hold down the trigger, you're going to get burst like a Hemlock or a Prowler, but it's going to shoot faster. So think of Devotion. This gun is going to be busted on release, and we're going to hopefully they figure out where it needs to be in the meta before Pro League, which is Apex Esports starts off, because no one needs a gun like this on the floor at the power levels they're talking about.
Is there like recoil that's accounted for as it
Uh,
like
I'm
speeds
playing.
up?
I'm playing on controller. There is no such thing as recoil. Aim assist will solve all those problems.
Oh, really?
Like here's a weird addendum. I have been playing with the same sense in Apex since I started playing, which is relatively slow because I have bad aim and I need a sort of slow sense to correct it.
Mm-hmm.
I changed to 4-3 classic. It's an aimbot. I get into
Oh
fights
wow.
and my reticle just latches onto the nearest guy. I
There's a
used to
person over there. Shoot
I
that
used
person.
I used to be really smart. I used to be really smart in this game. If I got a lot of kills, it was like, oh, it's a fluke. I'm now leaving any match where I survive past mid game with like 3 to 4 kills down.
Ooh,
So yeah,
and that's a lot
yeah,
considering like
yeah,
battle royale. So yeah.
yeah. So we're getting the AR. The two big things about this season is they're treating this season like a full on meta refresh. So the 16 seasons I've had to learn how Apex Legends meta and all the character interactions, that's all gone.
Mm,
Because now they're
yeah.
introducing a very class-based system, a la sort of like a Valorant or an Overwatch, where certain classes have certain base abilities that change the way team compositions works. So they're
So real quick, before you get into that, what is your feelings on that?
I think at a casual level, this doesn't matter. No one at a casual level gives a shit about the greater use of their abilities,
Mm-hmm.
interactions, the meta, macro, micro of anything. At the highest level, this changes everything fundamentally. Uh, Apex
Do you,
usually,
do you think this is as big as a shift as Overwatch 2?
uh, no.
Okay.
Yes, I know. I think it's a bigger shift in Overwatch 2. The
Bigger.
bigger
Okay.
shift in
All right.
Overwatch 2, but it will cause less problems in Overwatch 2. Because Overwatch 2 didn't,
Yeah.
because Apex isn't jettisoning a fucking entire. It's not a duos game anymore, and that
Yeah.
reframes everything. But yeah, so Apex used to have 4 classes: offense, defense, recon, and support. Now they've gotten rid of all of those classes, and now we're at 5 classes: skirmisher, uh, assault, uh, recon. Recon is staying, defense is staying, and we're getting a new class. No, defense is gone. We got control, and we got support. Support staying. Recon Legends in old Apex got new ring information. Now that's gone. Now they get only enemy information. So if they go to a beacon, they're going to get a UAV scan of the entire map. It changes the way certain characters in the game work. Like Valkyrie, Crypto are no longer the most meta characters they used to be for their core abilities because they no longer have the ability to scan beacons anymore. It also, during this update, they also gutted both Seer and Bloodhound, so they're no longer as oppressive. So it's interesting. I really want to see. Beforehand, Bloodhound used to be the most aggro. Bloodhound and Seer used to be most aggro recon characters. Now it might be Crypto, which is interesting. Support is essentially what they put the defense legends in, and essentially you're going to get blue bins and the ability to craft banners at crafters. So like if someone dies, you don't have to go get the banner; you can just craft it. At low level, this is fine. At high level, it's completely useless. This class is
Mm,
kind of, I think it's one of the weaker of the new classes, uh, in terms of like usability. The control got a huge buff in that characters like Watson, Catalyst, and Caustic all now get to scan Beacon. So they get ring knowledge. So now it benefits teams who want to play zone for playing a defensive character and locking down a zone instead of what it used to be, which is like everyone ran one of these busted recon characters and it didn't matter if you were playing zone or you were playing hard edge and fighting people. This changes everything. This also makes Watson, once again, brings her up at the top of the meta. So all the money I spent
right.
on this character brings it back. I have to relearn everything. I'm fucking happy. I had to switch it. Oh, okay. Skirmisher Legends is they're taking all the movement legends. Every character who had sort of insane movement, they're putting them in the skirmisher tier, and they're pretty much boosting their ability to rotate. So Wraith Portal
Rotate being
move across the map.
okay.
Before, all these characters had ability to micro rotate. Like they could move from one building to one building really easily. And then you had
Okay.
Valkyrie, who could rotate pretty much the entire map. Now they've buffed the rotation ability on all these characters in a way to try to make Valk not the only macro rotation character, which is cool. But it's one of those things where independently, most of the skirmishers are bad. So this is like the second worst new class.
Okay.
Then Assault is the new class that replaces Offensive, and their big thing is they get to hold more ammunition. They also get to open special red bins, which means that they're going to get better loot off drop. This is probably the strongest legend at a casual standpoint. Because,
That seems like it. If you
yeah,
get better equip or better like stuff, and you get
Yeah,
more ammo. Like
yeah.
that's what you need to kill people,
Yeah.
right?
So I have to relearn all the macro and micro synergies between all these characters and what legends I play and what legends I don't play. This may be the return of the Gibraltar. It's definitely the
Mm,
return of my Watson, but we'll see how everything else works out. This fucks over my team comp for Marcus because he's the only character he could really play at a high level was Bloodhound because Bloodhound was super easy. They gutted him, so I need to sit down with him and hopefully get him to figure out how to play Lobo really good to fix our team comps. But yeah, and then our the big change is they're getting rid of Apex Arenas. Apex Arenas was their tactical shooter mode in within their BR that they wanted to make an alternative. I think it was been bad. I think it has been bad for ever, and they have also
mm,
recognized it's been bad forever. So just getting rid of it and replacing it with the playlist, which is going to be a series of rotating play modes, like that they've been specializing over the last couple I say year. Control, which is their capture the zone based capture the flag kind of mode. Then there's Gun Run, which is gun mode from Call of Duty, but with Apex guns. And then the big thing they're introducing this season is Team Deathmatch, which is, hey, those people who don't want to play who love Apex for its mechanics, but don't want to play a BR and die in the first 30 seconds because they have no game sense and think the game sense and won't be able to don't get an respawn.
revive, respawn.
Oh,
Yeah.
here you go. Here's Team Deathmatch. You can play this and you can just run it. And that is the Apex update. This is a question that Sean had been posting in the chat as someone who's been the most vocal about DJ's complaints against Apex Legends and how unfounded they are. He said, DJ, they finally added Team Deathmatch. Will you actually play Apex Legends now?
So I think the addition to Team Deathmatch is probably the biggest, like, I guess, quote unquote, win for me because as a person who really has been getting their feet wet in the DMZ, like, Battle Royale was just never my bag. It was just, it was always too slow, and then everything ramped up really quickly, and you died because of XYZ reason, and you're just like, all right, and you just kind of go back to the load screen, and then you just do the whole thing over again. Like, it never really appealed to me too much. So for them to throw it in team deathmatch, that is very like, oh, I could give this a shot. The only the only problem is that, as I said, I am getting my feet wet in DMZ, and there there is some synergy between Call of Duty and Apex in terms of the people from Infinity Ward made Apex, but there's just, for me, there's like weird movement stuff that doesn't I don't really jive too well with in Apex, and it's not even like, oh, you move faster. It's like it's 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 like how you run and strafe. Like, it's a weird thing that, like, I noticed playing the battle royale, and it's like, I don't think I like this. But again, giving the option to play team match or team deathmatch, team deathmatch, Jesus,
Team Deathmatch.
team deathmatch, yes, like that is definitely more appealing to me. Where like I can see myself, jumping in and like giving it a go, and getting a better feel of the characters and how they move and X, Y, and Z and how the gunplay works.
That's going to be a you, Sean, and Marcus thing because there's no shot in hell I'm touching Team Deathmatch. There's absolutely no value to Team Deathmatch to me. I'm already fucking goaded at the sauce, at the actual things that matter in
Yeah,
Apex, which is game sense, which is the thing that this is what DJ is actually complaining about when he said, "Oh, like it's the game sense. It's a game sense when it comes to battle royales."
I don't I don't necessarily think it's game sense. I think because like when it comes down to it, it is target acquisition and dealing with the target. Like target acquisition, that's fine with me. The one thing that I really like about Call of Duty over Apex is the time to kill. And I think the time to kill in Apex, it's longer. So it allows you to be more flexible, figure out different strategies in X, Y, and Z. Whereas Call of Duty, you see a person, DMZ and Warzone, it's longer because you have the armor plates and whatever, but that just
I
feels
I
quicker to me.
can't wait for Valorant to come on console so we can all abandon all these childish games and play a real game.
Or
game
it's
where
one shot, one kill.
yeah, a game where all of DJs, I want TTK to be 0, and I would be like, I want a game that's only game sense, and all that be the same thing.
Hey, let's do it.
All right, our next story is the next and final story. This is in relation to the ongoing Activision Blizzard stuff. I'm gonna keep it relatively brief, but
Real quick, Sean's in the chat. Hi, Sean. You could have been here, but you're with your family.
that's all me. I'm gonna keep it relatively brief, but it's this is a yeah. Okay, so our first bit of story is on the ongoing. This is from Ethan Gotts from Kotaku.com. The saga of Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard just took a wild turn. So the UK regulators, who have been the CMA and the UK regulators around them, have sort of could have come to terms with how they feel about the Activision Blizzard deal. And how do I say this? Because I don't believe this, but this is what they said. They say if the deal happened, it would negatively impact UK gamers, and it's bad for the UK scene. I don't necessarily believe that.
Yeah.
But I'm of the mindset that I just want this deal dead to begin with. So whatever, it floats your boat. If that's the way you went with, whatever. That being said, they've come to Microsoft and said something I probably said a while ago, what I thought was the best point about this, and it's the sort of bullet in Microsoft's entire argument about why they're buying this. They have said that Activision, the Blizzard, that's all extra on what they really want, which is King.
Mm-hmm.
So the UK regulators have said, I bet if that is what's the most important part of you for this deal, divest of either Call of Duty, divest of Activision, or divest of Blizzard. And
that's a wild statement for Microsoft to have it figure out, man. It's like, wait, no, wait a minute.
They're essentially saying that you can keep a portion of this company, just a portion of it, not the entire thing for $69 billion.
Hit him with a checkmate, man. Like, what? Like, what do you do with this? Like, that's so. Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah, that's such a great move to call Microsoft on their bluff, talking about like trying to reduce how important Call of Duty is to them. And it's like, all right, well, yeah, if you are in it for King, have King. You don't get Call of Duty, you don't get Blizzard, just have King. And it's like, yeah, we could have King, we could have the money, but like,
the question is Activision Blizzard really willing to spend? Like, if I'm my thing is, and this is why, like, if I'm Microsoft and I'm serious about this and the amount of money I'm spending and everything like that, I would take the deal. I would take King if that's what we really want. But in my thing is, I think they've been stretching the truth in regards to how they care about this. They want all of these IPs to bolster Game Pass. That's all they want. That's everything what they want. So, so I don't think they're willing to sell on their own half truths. That being said, I don't think Activision Blizzard is going to want to sell for less. They're going to want 69 billion, and Microsoft's like, we don't know. How about 20 billion? How about that? I know.
Which is now like, no. I've already put 10 yachts in my Amazon cart. I need that money. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's a while. I don't. We still don't know what the FTC's play in all of this is, because if they're double teamed from both sides, by the UK and the America, there is the argument of, I think one thing that's like, we just pull out the UK, which is like, which is okay. That's a market you're just not going to sell in, which is interesting thing. I don't think they're going to do that. But if both regulators come at them at the same time, I think this is actually a serious thing that threatens the deal. That they have the money to fight, but like, that's a 2024 we're still fighting this instead of a 2023 we'll have this done by the end of the year situation.
Yep. And no one wants that.
No, they don't want that.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I say no one as in all
Yeah.
Microsoft people.
Expanding upon this, we got from Luke Plunkett from Kotaku. Sony accuses Microsoft of harassment in a court battle. So essentially, we talked about. Did we talk about it or not? Anyway, Sony got subpoenaed by Microsoft for information in regards to the court dealings. It was falsely reported that meant like Sony would have to be forced to show their hand in regards to all their deals and situations. But when it looks like the discovery is based entirely upon like executive conversations, so probably conversations executives have had about this deal and their feelings about this or whatever. There's some. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to get into the minute details of what this all means. But suffice to say, they've been asking repeatedly for this, and Sony's been like, "Nah, we're good." And this is somehow escalated to like a court telling Microsoft that you have to stop asking for this.
Calm down, bro.
Which is interesting, because like the only read I'm getting on this is that like Microsoft is doing their due diligence in this, and if Sony got the court to say like you need to calm down with this, that is an interesting development.
Yeah.
This is a story from Tom Ivan from BGC. Analysts view UK antitrust warning as a signal Xbox Activision deal is close to being approved. This is the story that I want everyone to read because I don't understand the final details of what this really means. But from what I can gather, it's like the CMA has given them the UK regulators have given them their, I guess, ultimatum on how they feel they want this deal to be fulfilled. So it's on Microsoft to either appeal to this and just close this deal or fight it, and then we'll see how long it lasts. Once again, I advise people to read this. A lot of this entire thing is a lot of legal mumbo jumbo that I'm not the most erudite in extolling to people. Ignoring that sentence I just said. I recognize in hindsight that comes off as weird and pretentious. I'm sorry.
No, you're just very verbose. That's all.
And the last bit of the story is that Bobby Kotick has been going out on a tour of anyone who will let him speak to talk about this deal. We got some choice sound bites that this is from Luke Plunkett from Kotaku. The UK will become Death Valley if Microsoft's purchase isn't approved. And this is him being slightly racist against Asian corporations, ignoring the actual global like ramifications of what this deal might mean. He is playing to like certain Orientalism bullshit to get this point across. Ultimately, he's saying that like Sony is a Japanese company. They don't have American interests at heart. They're not doing this for America and things like that. That Microsoft as an American company will keep jobs in America and things like in America and the UK, and that the UK wants to keep ignoring that. I don't think there is there might be UK Call of Duty. I might be some UK studios, but it's a lot of weird fear mongering things he's saying here.
Yeah.
He also is accusing Sony of trying to sabotage the Microsoft Activision takeover from Andy Robinson, which we talked about multiple times. They are. There's no world that Sony wants this deal to go through. So there's no world where they're helpful to Microsoft in spending $69 billion to take Call of Duty away from them potentially.
Wait. You telling me Kotick is mad that Sony, PlayStation, is trying to do anything and everything to stop this deal that's going to negatively affect them? Really? Like what?
I'm not saying they're doing everything and anything. If they're doing anything, people if people are asking them, they're doing it. Like if someone's but they're not like, all right, we need to fucking sabotage. We need to fucking hire spies to like ruin this or anything like that.
We need to shoot some tires out.
His big application is the minute this deal happened, that Sony stopped talking to Activision and that Sony also stopped talking to Microsoft. Microsoft has also corroborated that Sony isn't really talking to them on anything, which we know because they're not trying to help Microsoft in any way, shape, or form. Because any conversation positive with them is an approval of this deal, which is the antithesis of every talking point that Sony has. And then not talking to Activision, which is an interesting thing. But like, if I'm talking on a personal level, like What? So you want to sell yourself to me? You want to sell yourself to our biggest competitor, and you want us to talk like everything is fine? That being said,
Right.
the PlayStation still has the deal, the marketing deal. But as far as I can tell, Activision Blizzard is more than happy with just spending all their marketing dollars to market their game by themselves and just put PlayStation at the end of it instead of show Call of Duty at PlayStation events.
Yeah.
And then the final dark cloud over this is that Bobby Kotick will absolutely remain Activision CEO if Microsoft deal fails. It is claimed. This is the only
Yeah.
downside I see to this deal falling through.
Yeah.
Is that Kotick will still remain a charge of the company. He's proven to be an awful human being and an awful person, even in the but an okay businessman. So it's like this is a rock and a hard place in regards to how I feel about this deal. Because once again, I said this multiple times. I don't want $1 trillion company Microsoft just spending any other more money than their main competitor is worth to just buy other parts of the industry and be rewarded for that. That doesn't sound
Yeah.
like I get it. You guys don't have quote unquote don't have games of like 32, 28 studios or some shit like that. But like, I don't, I don't, I don't feel that this is the right play for the growth of the
Exactly.
industry.
Yeah.
Uh,
You don't want this to be the signal for potential moves in the future because it's
no,
not a
they've,
it's not
they've,
a
they've openly said that they're still going to be on a spending spree in terms of
yep.
buying studios, but after this, and I'm like, that is
Who else you buying? Like what the
that
fuck?
is absurd.
Like who
That is
else
no,
you
it's 100
buying?
percent absurd. That's 100% absurd. You bought
Oh
two
my gosh.
publishers.
Right. We're gonna buy Nintendo next. Like
And
it's
for
so
an Xbox
crazy.
fan, that's an absolute win. And I get that point of view that there's no reason to be this, but like that's here or there. Kodak
Yeah.
needs.
He
This
needs
is
to get
what.
kicked. He needs to
Yeah,
be put
he's
out.
not going
Like
to get kicked because the fucking shareholders love him because he
yeah,
makes the money.
exactly. Yeah.
But that's why I've always wanted this Activision Blizzard to just fall apart as a corporation. That
Mm,
everything like either way, even if this deal goes through or doesn't go through, this man is being rewarded tremendously for just being an awful person. Uh,
yeah.
I'm just hoping that Activision Blizzard. I'm hoping for the world that Activision Blizzard falls apart as a corporation and all of its intellectual properties get sold to the wind to people who are willing to spend the money to support them going forward. Support them, the teams.
Yeah.
That's my win
I
for this.
mean, my thing is I would love for that to I would love for Kodak to get put out. They put a new CEO person in and that person writes the ship and fix all the studio harassment issue that's happening. But like in a situation where okay, well, Activision Blizzard is now scrapped and now they have to sell off the IP. It's like who is going to buy that? Like the price tag on Call of Duty alone would just be insane.
It would be. It would be. There is a world where Call of Duty itself is rolled off to its own entertainment entity in itself,
Yeah,
and it stays self sufficient. I think it's the only part of that company that can survive that way, and everything else
that's
can be
true.
sold off. I think
Yeah.
Blizzard might have a problem because all their games are so interlinked with each other that they have to
Yeah.
be bought off by them like as an entertainment brand. But it's like I said, it's more complicated. I don't want this deal to go through. I also don't want Bobby Kotick to still be in charge. So I'm in a
Yeah.
rock at a hard place. I yeah, that's the last
Yeah.
bit of the Call of Duty news. I'm not well the Microsoft Activision news. We are going to be sitting with this for the next possibly year.
Ugh. Ugh. All right. Well, that has been it for Press X to Starts Gamers Digest. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to your favorite YouTube channel, which is us, which you're watching right now. If you are listening, we greatly appreciate that you leave us a review because we would greatly appreciate that. Uh, yeah, that's it. That's it. I hit the two things I needed to hit. We done talked through all the most important gaming news that you need to know for the past week. We went a little bit over an hour, but it is okay. Consider that a little bit, extra little snack for yourself. Enjoy. With that being said, take care, be safe, keep gaming.
Goodbye, everyone.